4 years ago, on the eve of the Democratic convention, we were in Philadelphia as the delegates gathered, all set to broadcast from the convention hall as all networks have done since the dawn of the TV era. Not this year. The pandemic that has upended so much of our lives has essentially canceled the convention. The delegates will not be gathering in Milwaukee. The speakers will be taking a virtual stage, beaming in from all over the country in an epic display of social distancing. One thing that will not change from 4 years ago, the kickoff speaker in prime time will be the runner-up for the Democratic nomination, Senator Bernie Sanders. He joins us now from his home in Burlington, Vermont. Senator, thank you for joining us this morning. You're in the same position you were in 4 years ago, runner-up to the candidate who wanted reform, not revolution. But the party has been moving your way on many of the big issues. So will you declare victory tomorrow night?
Well, one of the points that I will make is that the progressive movement has been making enormous progress, not only in electing candidates to Congress, not only in electing candidates to state legislatures, but also electing candidates who are running for district attorney, who are transforming criminal justice in America. And also, George, I think as you've indicated, on all of the ideas that we have been campaigning, the understanding that healthcare is a human right, the need to raise the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour, the understanding that climate change is an existential threat and that we can create millions of jobs, transforming our energy system. You know what? We have made enormous progress in bringing the American people in our direction, especially the younger generation.
Not quite all the issues, though, not Medicare for all. And some of your supporters are unhappy about that. Congressman Ro Khanna has complained that it doesn't explicitly endorse Medicare for all. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib put out a tweet last night saying she's voting against the platform for that reason and actually nominating you for president. What's your message to them?
Well, my message is that we're going to continue the fight for Medicare for all. We have a healthcare system today that's dysfunctional. Too many people are uninsured. Too many people are underinsured. Too many people are going bankrupt because of medical bills. We pay almost twice as much per capita as the people of any other country. Function of healthcare is to guarantee healthcare to all, not make huge profits for the drug companies and the insurance companies. That fight continues the day after Joe Biden is elected president.
Kamala Harris endorsed Medicare for all during the primaries. Do you believe she's an ally in this fight for Medicare for all?
Well, I believe that Kamala is, as somebody who has known her for a number of years, incredibly smart, incredibly tough. And I would not like to be Vice President Pence in a debate with her. I think she's an asset for the Biden campaign, and I think she's going to do great on the campaign trail.
Not all of your supporters agree, including your former press secretary, Brianna Joy Gray. She put out a tweet saying, "We are in the midst of the largest protest movement in American history, the subject of which is excessive policing, and the Democratic Party chose a, quote, top cop and the author of the Joe Biden crime bill to save us from Trump." She was your press secretary. She says the contempt for the base here is wow.
Well, I would say that the overwhelming majority of progressives understand that it is absolutely imperative that Donald Trump be defeated, that we have a president who is trying to undermine American democracy, a president who has turned his back on the working families of this country, a president who has done a horrible job in terms of the pandemic, does not believe in science, is not dealing with the existential threat of climate change. So obviously there may be disagreements. A lot of my supporters are not enthusiastic about Joe Biden. You know why? I ran against Joe Biden. But I think there is overwhelming understanding that Donald Trump must be defeated, Biden must be elected, and that the day after he is elected, we're going to do everything we can to create a government that works for all of us and not just the 1% and wealthy campaign contributors.
Last night, you called on the Postmaster General Louis DeJoy to resign. But at his press conference yesterday, the president defended DeJoy and said he pinned the blame for the postal problems, the funding problems, on Democrats. Let's take a look.
The Democrats aren't willing to provide other things, and therefore they're not going to get the funding for that. But you are going to have a catastrophic situation with universal mail-in votes. And on top of it, the Democrats aren't willing to give the people the money and the post office the money.
Your response?
Look, you got a pathological liar in the White House, which is one of many reasons why he has to be defeated. 3 months ago, the Democratic House of Representatives passed a HEROES bill, which would fund the post office, make sure that workers in this country continue to get $600 supplement to their unemployment insurance. If they're unemployed, get at least $1,200, and provide massive help to cities and states. To say that the Democrats are not working on behalf of working people or not funding the post office is another lie from Donald Trump.
But there is a stalemate now in the talk. So what do the Democrats do about this at this point?
There's not a stalemate. Democrats sat down. Mitch McConnell did not participate in the negotiations. You had Donald Trump any day could invite Democrats and Republicans to the White House. He didn't. Their job was to stymie and make sure there were no agreements, because half of the Republicans in the United States Senate do not want to contribute another nickel to American workers' help during this crisis. That's the reality.
Well, who's ever to blame, it's still a stalemate. So my question is, what do the Democrats do at this point? Do you have to come back, cancel the recess right now, and put more pressure on this issue on the president and his team?
Well, number one, I am deeply, deeply concerned about Trump's effort to undermine American democracy by defunding the Postal Service. Now, that's not me talking. That's what Donald Trump said himself a few days ago. He said, look, I don't want millions of people to be casting mail-in ballots. Well, we're in a pandemic now, Mr. President, and people should not have to put their lives on the line and get sick and maybe die in order to cast a vote. Of course, we need mail-in ballots. Here in Vermont on Tuesday, we had a primary, record-breaking turnout. Most of the people voted by mail-in ballots. It went perfectly well. Other states are doing the same. What Trump apparently believes that a low turnout will work for him, and he wants to discourage people from voting, from mail-in ballots, because he thinks it will work to his favor. That is pathetic. That is not what a president of the United States should be doing.
So what do you do about it?
Well, I think Nancy Pelosi has a good idea. I think the House should come back and make sure that the U.S. Postal Service is fully funded. I think we've got to do everything we can to get rid of this new Postmaster General, who is clearly a campaign contributor for Trump trying to undermine the Postal Service, and make it clear to the American people, whether you are a progressive, a moderate, or a conservative. This goes beyond political ideology. This goes to the fact of whether or not we are a democracy or will continue to have a president who is trying to make it impossible for millions of people to vote. And I hope in a very resounding way, the American people say, sorry, Mr. President, people fought and died for American democracy. You're not going to destroy it.
Senator Sanders, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.